Kiora Eri straight up declines the trip to another world. He's not vibing with the offer if it doesn't meet his specific conditions. The goddess is visibly shook by his refusal. Just a few minutes ago, this man was a 37-year-old dying in a hospital bed, and now he's acting like the manager. Kiora Eri had a rough time battling illness, so he's not exactly looking to become a hero. Being chosen for a mission sounds like a lot of work he didn't sign up for. He's overthinking the whole God situation. It's a lot to process when you're just trying to rest in peace. Turns out, the gods regularly drop people into other worlds with powers just to see what happens. It's basically a divine social experiment. Kiora asks if they'll actually listen to what he wants. The goddess is all for it, even suggesting a harem or some overwhelming power if he's into that. But Kiora Eri is built different. He just wants a quiet, self-sufficient life with zero human interaction and some basic utility spells. No fighting, just vibes. The goddess thinks he's being a bit cheeky with these demands, but she agrees. He gets his lifestyle magic and just enough power to survive the forest. With a heart full of hope, Kiora Eri walks into the light to start his second life. And immediately, he's a 7-year-old kid named Yuri running for his life from a giant boar. Talk about a warm welcome. Yuri is huffing and puffing, wondering why his second life is trying to end before it even starts. He's got to find that abandoned village the goddess mentioned ASAP. He remembers he has a stealth skill, but he has no idea how to turn it on. The giant boar is right on his heels, not giving him a second to think. He starts spamming random commands like it's a buggy game, begging for the skill to just activate already. Finally, it clicks. Yuri disappears into the shadows, leaving the giant boar completely confused in the middle of the brush. Total success. He's completely blending into the scenery now. The beast is still sniffing around, but Yuri is officially off the radar. He takes a breath to process the fact that he's elementary school age now. At least his new body is healthy, even if it's tiny. Time to check the specs. Reincarnation stories always have a status board, so Yuri tries to summon his like he's checking an inventory. The screen pops up, confirming he's Yuri Sarai, age 7. The name's a bit different, but he can work with it. His skill list is actually stacked with utility stuff like lifestyle magic and language mastery. Level 1 fire magic is on there too, just in case. He's hyped about the potential for easy farming and chores, but he knows he can't stay out in the open with monsters lurking around. He pulls out a simple work knife, realizing it's his only weapon. If he runs into that monster again, this isn't exactly going to save him. Just as he's worrying about life or death, his stomach starts growling like crazy. Priority shift. All he's got are some plain berries in his pouch. It's not exactly the gourmet meal he was hoping for in his new life. The road to an easy life is looking pretty rough so far. He's got a laundry list of things to do, and he's already starving. Then he sees it. An abandoned village tucked away in the valley. A free base? We take those. It's perfect. No people around to bother him, plenty of space for farming, and even some buildings that aren't completely trashed. That goddess really came through. He heads inside, prioritizing the big three: food, clothing, and shelter. His current clothes are fine, but he needs to lock down the rest by sunset. Yuri finds a house that looks relatively sturdy and decides it's his new home base. It's a bit of a fixer-upper, but it's home. A little DIY magic, and this place will be peak cozy. It's centrally located too, so expanding his little farm should be easy. With shelter sorted, only one thing is left on the checklist: food. And unfortunately, that means he's gotta go hunting. Or gathering. Preferably gathering. Luck is on his side because he finds some wild potatoes and wheat growing nearby. Looks like the former villagers left him a little starter kit. He's a bit skeptical about whether they're actually safe to eat, or just poisonous decoys meant to end his run early. He pulls up his skill list again to find appraisal. If this works like every other isekai, it should give him the green light. Time to put it to the test. Appraisal confirms they're good for eating and planting. It even tells him some of the harvested wheat is still edible, which is a massive win for his pantry. He remembers a video about catching birds with wheat and decides to try his hand at some low-effort trapping. Free protein is free protein. Yuri hides behind a pillar, watching a few white-crested birds landing for the bait. He's got that all according to plan face going on. He considers just blasting them with fire magic to speed things up, but he doesn't want to overdo it for a few small snacks. Then something feels off. Suddenly, someone or something warns him to watch out. He spins around, sensing a massive presence approaching from the woods. It's the giant boar again. It tracked him all the way to the village, and it looks like it's taking this whole thing personally. Round 2 is starting. The beast is literally breathing down his neck, eyes glowing like it hasn't eaten in a week. Yuri's heart drops into his shoes. Yuri gets launched into the air as the boar charges, barely avoiding a direct hit. He's panicking and screaming as he tries to trigger stealth mid-air. He ducks behind a stone wall, heart pounding. Running away again isn't an option if he wants to keep his new house, but he's got zero plan. The giant boar is straight up wrecking the place. Yuri's hiding behind a corner, realizing that even if he survives this, he'll have nowhere left to live if the village gets flattened. He's got to stop this thing with the bare minimum powers he was given. It's time to actually do something instead of just running and praying. Yuri knows he can't handle a beast this big, but even a regular boar is serious trouble. Moving around recklessly in an unfamiliar world is a one-way ticket to a game over. The woods are crawling with glowing eyes in the dark. There's literally no better place to run than this abandoned village, so he's got to stand his ground. He figures the giant boar just sees him as an intruder in its territory. If he runs, it'll just keep chasing him until one of them drops. They're rivals now, and it's personal. Living freely means taking responsibility for your own life. Yuri's always dreamed of living in nature, and he's not letting a giant pig ruin his retirement plans. Time to fight. He's decided. He's going to live in this world, and he's not letting a starter mob stop him on day 1. Yuri locks in with a look of pure determination. He charges up a fire magic level 1 spell and lets it rip. A ball of flames flies toward the giant boar's face, lighting up the whole area. The explosion is massive. Smoke and fire everywhere. Yuri's actually shocked at the scale of the blast. Maybe level 1 magic is more cracked than he thought? But as the smoke clears, the giant boar is still standing. Yuri's sweating bullets, realizing he's not the overpowered main character he hoped he was. Time to lean back on stealth. His skill list is a mile long, but most of it is level 1 or 3. He's gotta believe in the concealment skill, because it's the only thing that's actually worked so far. Yuri takes a deep breath, trying to manifest that fantasy power for real. He clenches his fist, focusing every bit of mana he's got. He tries fire magic level 1 again, feeling the heat burning deep inside his body. This time, he's actually putting some weight behind it, and it just makes a pathetic little pop in the palm of his hand. Yuri is standing there with a literal misunderstand face. Level 1 magic really is just a glorified lighter. The fire just sizzles out on the ground. Yuri's staring at it in disbelief, wondering if that's really all he's got. The giant boar is just as confused as he is. The beast lets out a massive snort and glares at him. Yuri realizes he's in deep trouble. His first attempt was a complete flop, and now the boar is genuinely annoyed. He starts panic spamming other spells. Wind magic level 1? Nothing. Wood magic level 1? A tiny little sprout pops up. The boar is literally just watching him fail at this point. Then he tries earth magic level 3. Suddenly, a massive wall of rock rumbles out of the ground, surprising even Yuri. Higher-level spells are definitely the play. The giant boar doesn't care about a rock wall and just tries to smash through it. It gets its head stuck in the hole it made, which is honestly a top-tier fail on its part. It's stuck. Yuri realizes this is his one and only chance to finish this. He needs to stop being a scared kid and actually take the shot. He slides his work knife out of its sheath. Magic isn't working, so he's going old school. It's time to end this fight right here, right now. Yuri aims for the throat, the classic weak spot. He's shaking, but he knows if he misses this, he's the one who dies. He grips the knife tight and commits. With a massive scream, Yuri charges forward and finishes the job. The giant boar finally goes down, and Yuri can finally take a breath. That was way more intense than a slow life should be. He stands over the massive carcass, actually impressed with himself. For a 7-year-old, he handled that surprisingly well. Now he just needs to figure out what to do with all this meat. Yuri remembers reading about how to dress game in some novel. Hanging it upside down, draining the blood, all that fun stuff. But he's tiny, and this thing is huge. There's no way he can lift this thing, let alone hang it up. He needs a big river to clean it properly, and he has no clue where to find one. Then he hears a voice. Someone's asking if he's in trouble. Yuri's looking around, confused. It's the same voice that warned him about the boar earlier. He's begging them to show themselves. A pair of birds fly overhead, telling him to look around. Yuri's jaw drops. He's actually having a conversation with a couple of pigeons. Or whatever these things are. The white-crested birds are just as shocked as he is. They've never seen a human who could actually understand them before. This language mastery skill is no joke. Yuri checks his skill list, seeing language mastery right there. He didn't think it would let him talk to animals, but he's not complaining. It's way more useful than he imagined. The birds offer to show him a good spot by the river nearby. Yuri's totally vibing with this. It's a bit weird, but he'll take all the help he can get. They tell him the river is pretty close and pretty big. Yuri's hyped. This is the first bit of good news he's had all day. He thanks them like they're his new best friends. The birds tell him this is just payback for some wheat he found earlier. Yuri's a bit touched that these little guys are so loyal. He's glad he didn't try to hunt them for snacks. They wave goodbye as they fly off. Yuri is left feeling actually pretty good about this whole reincarnation thing. He's got bird friends and a dead boar. Progress. Now the problem is moving this massive boar to the river. Yuri's a 7-year-old, not a forklift. He's pushing with all his might, but the thing won't budge an inch. Then he remembers. Storage. He asked for this specifically so he could carry stuff like an RPG inventory. He just has to touch the object and activate the skill. Easy. He taps the storage icon and beep! The entire giant boar just vanishes into a dimensional bubble. Yuri's mind is blown. This is the ultimate cheat skill for moving day. He checks his storage space and it's barely even full. This pocket dimension is huge. Plus, time doesn't pass inside, so the meat will never rot. Infinite freshness. Let's go. Yuri's actually having fun now. This slow life is finally starting to feel like a game. He pops on concealment again just in case and heads toward the river. Cleaning the boar is tough work, but he gets it done. He uses a bit of water magic to wash away the blood. It's gruesome, but he's gotta eat. Ugh, the smell. After a long day, Yuri takes a break by the river. He's exhausted, and he suspects using magic is what's really draining his energy. Time to check the stats again. His magic power is already down to 51 100s. He realizes his understanding of this world's reality is way off. He thought he was weak, but his magic is actually twice as strong as an average person's. Oops. Yuri's got a slab of boar meat that appraisal confirms is parasite-free. It's officially dinner time. He whips up a DIY stove with earth magic and lights some kindling with a flick of fire. Professional camper behavior. The meat is sizzle-maxing on a stick. Yuri's got the basic etiquette down. No burning the grass allowed. He stares at the juicy steak, already drooling. Hospital food really didn't prepare him for this level of gourmet. One bite, and he's transcending. The magic of eating outdoors hits different when you actually hunted the meal yourself. Absolute peak flavor. Even the local wildlife is watching him enjoy this 5-star meal with zero seasoning. For the first time since he got isekai'd, Yuri actually feels alive. This is exactly the vibe he was looking for. Food is handled, but now he needs a place to crash before the sun dips. Homesteading is a full-time job. To-do list update. He needs to make sure nothing eats him while he's sleeping. Perimeter security is now top priority. Shelter and food are checked off. Next objective? Turn this abandoned shack into an actual base. He's contemplating building a wall. Easier said than done when you're technically a 7-year-old child living alone. Wood takes too long, and stacking stones is a literal nightmare. Earth magic is clearly the meta for base building. Time to grind some XP. If he can refine the soil, maybe his magic walls won't crumble like crackers. He starts small by making some stoneware. Ta-da! It's giving DIY channel with an infinite budget. The practice pays off. His latest attempt is smooth and actually looks like a bowl instead of a dirt clump. He taps it to check the durability. It's basically stone now, and he didn't even need a kiln. Cheat codes are great. Yuri puts on his best craftsman face and gets to work on the big project. Prepping the soil is everything. A massive slab of earth rumbles up from the ground. It's actually a pretty magnificent wall for a first try. He calculates the dimensions. 5 meters wide, 3 high. Just need a few more of these, and he's got a fortress. Boom. The house is officially surrounded. It's a bit much for one guy, but hey, security first. He takes a step back and realizes he basically built a prison. The vibes are a bit intense. It's getting dark, so he's calling it a day. He'll just store a wall in his inventory whenever he needs to leave. Big brain move. One last thing. He needs water. Real life doesn't come with an ignore thirst button, unfortunately. Luckily, he found a well earlier. If he can get it working, he won't have to hike to the river every morning. He drops a pebble to check the depth. Plop. There's definitely water down there, but it's way down. The pulley is trashed and there's no bucket. Yuri is standing there like, how am I supposed to drink? Back to using magic for everything. He pictures a glob of water floating in space and pulls it right up. Success! A giant orb of water floats out of the well. It looks surprisingly clean for an abandoned village. Appraisal gives it the green light. No germs detected. He'll boil it anyway because he's not taking chances on day one. He's absolutely cooked. First day in another world and he's already built a fort. Time to sleep on some leaves. The list of chores is still a mile long. Toilet, fields, house repairs. Homesteading is basically a survival game. Despite the work, he's actually excited for tomorrow. It's the first time in years he's had something to look forward to. Morning comes, and Yuri is feeling every bit of that leaf bed. His whole body is screaming for a real mattress. Today's mission: make a bed that doesn't feel like a pile of rocks. That boar hide is looking like a solid blanket option. He scrolls through his skills and finds Rural Living Guide. Time to see if this bonus gift is actually worth it. It's basically a Wikipedia for survival. The goddess really did think of everything for his quiet retirement. He types boar hide tanning method into the search bar. Let's see how hard this DIY project actually is. Step 1. Skin it. Step 2. Clean it. Step 3. Scrape the fat. Yuri's already huffing just reading the instructions. Step 4. Soak it for 2 weeks? 2 weeks? Yuri's soul basically leaves his body at the thought. He's defeated by the tanning process. Guess it's back to sleeping on leaves for a while. F in the chat. He pivots to house repairs instead. It's a simple 3-room layout with dirt floors. Very rustic. After a night's rest, his mana is topped up. It's time to stop whining and start some serious DIY work. Yuri decides to use his earth magic meta to remodel the house. A raised floor style is definitely better for the vibes, even if it is a bit chilly. For the cooking area, he goes for a traditional earthen floor. He's basically a pro architect at this point. No big deal. Cleaning time! He tries using wind magic to blow away the trash, but it just results in him inhaling a bunch of dust. Major fail. The sun is setting on another day of manual labor. He's already planning his next projects. Candles, a bath, and a functional toilet. The grind never stops. Morning hits, and Yuri is crying? He's having a literal breakdown on the floor. What happened? Turns out, he finally checked his storage skill. He was so busy struggling to survive that he completely ignored the inventory tab. Typical gamer move. The inventory list is stacked. Food, water, potions, and even fur for warmth. He's been living like a peasant when he was actually a king the whole time. Pain. He also finds a letter from the goddess. It's full of tips on how to hide his OP skills from the locals. She really did have his back. Wait, life magic has a purification spell? Yuri realizes he didn't need to wipe his butt with leaves this whole time. Absolute emotional damage. He's having a midlife crisis at 7 years old. He always was the type to skip the tutorial and then complain when things got hard. Relatable. Even with all the loot, he's getting tired of eating plain grilled meat. A man needs some seasoning to feel human again. He starts looting the abandoned houses nearby, hoping the former residents left some salt or a spice rack behind. No luck yet. Instead of salt, he finds a map. It's super primitive, but it's better than wandering blindly into a monster's mouth. He studies the ink markings, trying to figure out if that X means buried treasure or a do not enter zone. Only one way to find out. He heads out to investigate the mark. He's pretty sure there's a good reason why people built a village here in the first place. Resources, maybe? It's time for some field work. He's not trying to get rich, but a little extra security wouldn't hurt. Exploration arc begins. He hits a dead end pretty quickly. The old road is completely swallowed by overgrown grass and thickets. Nature really doesn't care about your plans. He considers turning back. Unknown plants, potential poisonous ticks. The list of ways to die is getting longer by the second. Skip. Wait, why is he acting like he's still a normal human? He's got a literal cheat code for a brain. Time to use it. Burning the grass is a fire hazard, so he opts for some clean yard work. He keeps forgetting he can literally manipulate the elements. Wind cutter! He launches a spell to clear the path. It's honestly kind of satisfying to see the brush get shredded like paper. He clears a whole patch and starts scanning the area with appraisal. He finds some wild lilies that are actually edible. Jackpot. He spots some familiar-looking leaves. Could it be? The legendary isekai version of a natural yam? He's already imagining the feast. Forget gold and silver. Grated yam is the real treasure here. He just needs to dig them up without snapping the roots. Easier said than done. Yuri uses his earth magic to dig up a wild yam, thinking it's going to be an easy win. Instead of a normal root, this weirdly human-shaped thing pops out of the ground. Yuri just stares at the thing, wondering if it's a monster or just a potato having a midlife crisis. He tosses it into storage to deal with later, but a sudden rustle in the grass kills the mood. The vibes in the forest shift instantly, and Yuri knows something is definitely watching him. He lunges back just as an invisible force slashes the air where his head used to be. He hits the dirt hard, his heart racing as he tries to figure out what's attacking him. A massive trench gets carved into the earth right in front of him by something he still can't see. The camouflage drops, revealing a giant mantis that's basically a living meat grinder on legs. Yuri tries the diplomatic approach, but the bug isn't exactly looking for a pen pal. It lunges with a screech. Yeah, talking was definitely a bad call. He barely avoids another strike, realizing this thing is strictly out for blood. The mantis vanishes again, leaving Yuri shaking. One clean hit, and his new life is over. His perception skill kicks in, letting him sense the monster's movements before they even happen. He's starting to read the flow of the fight, locking in on the invisible killer's location. Even without his eyes, he can feel the bug's presence shifting through the air. Time to switch to offense. Yuri starts prepping a little surprise with his water magic. He pulls the moisture straight out of the sky to coat the invisible mantis in a layer of liquid. The trap works perfectly, leaving the monster revealed and struggling inside a massive sphere of water. Yuri's already eyeing the bug's scythes for his farm, because the grind never actually stops. He finishes the job only for a bunch of gross, otherworldly hairworms to burst out of the carcass. It's a total mood killer. He had to shred the mantis to kill the parasites, so there goes his loot. Back on the trail, Yuri wanders through the woods as he slowly loses his sense of direction. Finally, he hits the jackpot. The cave from his map is right where it's supposed to be. He crafts a quick torch using earth magic and some leftover boar hide to light up the dark. It's pitch black and the ground is sketchy, but he's determined to see what's inside. Yuri explores deeper, hoping to find something he can actually trade or sell later on. Then he sees it, a massive glowing pillar of crystals standing right in the middle of the cave. It's not just pretty. These are giant rock salt stalactites, which is basically gold for a guy living solo. That night, Yuri's living his best life with a perfectly seasoned steak by the hearth. He takes a second to think back on the literal monsters he's fought, and wonders if this life is actually slow. Regardless, Yuri's hyped. Tomorrow, the real work on his farm finally begins. Yuri starts his farm life with the absolute basics: soil prep. He knows the grind is 80% planning and 20% actually doing the work. The ground is basically a rock after years of neglect, but Yuri isn't sweating it. He's got a cheat code for this. Why pull weeds by hand when you have earth magic? He just pops them right out of the dirt like it's nothing. He rumbles the earth to loosen things up. Honestly, he probably didn't even need to make that wooden hoe. After some magic-assisted labor, the field is actually starting to look like the real deal. Now for the messy part: fertilizer. Manure is hard to come by out here, but the local birds decide to drop in. The white-crested birds check in on his progress. Yuri asks if they're looking to build a nest in his field. He gives them a long, awkward stare. He's literally just calculating how much bird poop he can get out of them for his crops. He shamelessly asks them to do their business right here and bring all their friends. The birds are straight up disturbed. Yuri tries to be polite and introduces himself, but the concept of names is totally lost on his feathered friends. He tells them to just call him Yuri. It's actually kind of nice having someone to talk to, even if they're birds. They try to get him to make a nest again. He has to clarify that he's strictly in farming mode right now, not nesting. He piles up some weeds to rot into fertilizer, but that takes time. He needs a shortcut for today. Time for the old school trick. He uses leftover plant ash from his stove as a quick nutrient boost for the soil. Everything is ready. He's got wheat, potato sprouts, and some forest bulbs he gathered earlier. He finds a weird mandrake-looking thing. It looks way too sketchy to eat, so he just buries it and hopes for the best. He wonders if this world even has 4 seasons. The goddess said it was similar to Earth, so he's just going to wing it. As a peace offering, he gives the birds some food. They're basically his roommates at this point. Big mistake. The birds immediately start digging up and eating his fresh seeds. Yuri has to chase them off his crop. Montage time. He uses wood magic to force sprouts and water magic to keep everything hydrated. He even uses light magic for extra photosynthesis and dark magic for shade. It's the ultimate high-tech garden. 2 months fly by as Yuri manages the farm with his magic toolkit. The abandoned village is actually starting to look like a real home. The growth is pretty insane. Yuri hits the lounge chair for some well-earned relaxation. This is the peak slow life he was dreaming of. With the barrier back up, he doesn't have to worry about monsters wrecking his hard work or attacking him. He even names his bird besties Sakura and Omochi. They're a bit loud, but they keep the place lively. It's starting to get cold, so the birds have to migrate. Yuri realizes being solo is actually kind of lonely. Suddenly, 2 of them fly back in a total panic. They're screaming about some big trouble nearby. They say a small human fell down. Yuri is stunned. There shouldn't be any kids this deep in the forest. He drops everything and follows the birds into the woods before it's too late for the stranger. He grabs his blade, wondering if a kid got separated from travelers or just abandoned. Either way, he's ready for trouble. The birds lead him to a specific tree. "Over here," they chirp, and Yuri braces himself for whatever's waiting. He reaches the spot, but finds absolutely nothing. He calls out, hoping the kid is just hiding in the brush. No answer. He scans the grass and notices something tiny glowing near the roots of the tree. It's not a child. It's a tiny spirit lying there unconscious. She looks like a character from a game. For a second, he's just mesmerized by how beautiful she is. Then he snaps out of it because he has a job to do. She isn't hurt, but her magic power is almost 0. Yuri pulls out a recovery potion he got from the goddess. Now he's got a logistics problem. Her mouth is way too small to aim a regular-sized potion bottle into. Right as he starts pouring, she sneezes. The potion misses completely and drenches her like a bucket of water. She wakes up, coughing and sputtering. Yuri is just glad she's breathing again, even if she's soaked. Her first words aren't a "thank you." She screams at him for being a brat and drenching her in liquid. Turns out she's an alcohol spirit. She's tiny, but she's got a massive attitude and a lot of pride to make up for it. Yuri asks for her name, but the tiny spirit hits him with a "don't have one." She explains that spirits just recognize each other's auras, so names are basically just extra baggage. She tells him to call her whatever he wants, as long as she likes it. Yuri is getting major "I do what I want" cat attitude from her. She asks if Yuri is planning to abandon a poor, helpless spirit he just found. He's like, "Chill, I'll take care of you for a bit." They head back to his village, and she's actually impressed he wasn't kidding about living here. Her first review of the place is brutal. She calls it a total mess and says it looks like a literal ghost town. She's shocked Yuri lives in these ruins all by himself. He tells her his bird friends keep him from getting lonely. She starts pitying him, thinking Yuri has had the most tragic life ever. Yuri's just confused by the sudden emotional intensity. Then she realizes the real tragedy. There isn't a single drop of alcohol in this entire village. Her face says it all. As a spirit of alcohol, she literally can't function without booze. She's basically starving to death and panicking about it. Yuri offers a recovery potion to help her out, but she's not feeling it. Apparently, potions aren't the answer. Spirits need drinks made by human hands to actually get their vitality back. Potions are just nasty medicine to her. She threatens to leave this dump immediately since there's no booze. Yuri has to remind her he's just sharing his stash out of kindness. He checks his inventory and realizes he's running low on the good stuff. He's officially on babysitting duty for a while. Yuri decides it's time to stop relying on his stash and start brewing his own potions from scratch. He uses earth magic to whip up some custom bottles. He's missing the stuff for booze, but it's probably better for a kid not to brew that anyway. Alchemy usually requires years of study, but Yuri is just going to follow the instructions in his head. He pulls up his rural living guide and searches for the ultimate potion-making method. The list of potions he can make is absolutely massive. He's so hyped, he's basically calling this skill his master now. He gets in the zone and starts crafting like a total machine. It's actually pretty satisfying. He ends up making way too many, but hey, he unlocked the potion brewing skill. At least the spirit won't go hungry now. Yuri's feeling confident. He's starting to think he can push way beyond the basic powers the goddess gave him. The spirit is absolutely floored. She's never seen a human, let alone a kid, craft high-tier potions like this. He offers her a tiny sip in a cup he made specifically for her. "Go on, try it," he says. She drinks it, but it's just a basic recipe. It doesn't taste great, which is honestly what he expected. Still, she admits it's better than any potion she's ever had. That's a massive compliment coming from her. Yuri's relieved. Knowing her personality, she definitely wouldn't lie just to be polite. She starts lounging around like she owns the place. She's finally starting to see that Yuri isn't your average human. 2 weeks fly by, and summer hits like a truck. In any world, the blazing sun is a total vibe killer. Yuri isn't sweating it, literally. He's using dark magic for shade, water magic for hydration, and wind magic just to cool off. The spirit is losing her mind over how much mana he's wasting just to stay comfortable while farming. Yuri just hits her with a, yeah, and heads off for a nap. Living with a spirit is basically like having a weird neighbor. His daily routine hasn't really changed. He's still a loner at heart, even with a floating roommate. He realizes he's only got one outfit, and summer is peak "I need a change of clothes" season. He heads into the forest to scavenge. Even in the weeds, there's a lot of useful stuff if you know where to look. Jackpot! He finds Mao for fibers and even some wild cotton. New clothes are officially on the menu. He spots a massive swarm of insects and decides to take the long way around. No one wants to deal with that. Then he sees it. A single mosquito. He suddenly remembers that monsters aren't the real threat. These tiny terrors have taken more human lives than anything else on Earth. They're the real final boss. He starts spiraling, thinking about paths, viruses, and pathogens. The invisible killers are way more terrifying than a giant boar. Forget the clothes. He needs insect repellent right now. He takes off running like his life depends on it. He searches the plants, looking for anything similar to mint or chrysanthemum from back home. Finally, he finds perito, the perfect ingredient for mosquito coils. Time to go to work. Yuri is losing his mind because he's supposed to let the picked flowers sit for half a year? By then, winter will have already wiped him out. He's desperate for a shortcut. Then remembers a classic Japanese move, the kayaribi, or smudge fire, to deal with the pests. He lights the parito on fire, hoping the insecticide-laced smoke will send the local bugs packing before they can ruin his day. Smoke starts billowing out of the hut, and suddenly, a high-pitched screech echoes from inside. Oops, someone was home. Out pops the alcohol spirit, Marcia, and she is absolutely fuming at him for trying to smoke her out, like she's some kind of pest. Yuri's just standing there like, "Wait, you were still inside?" He apologizes, but she's busy having a total meltdown about it. Marcia warns him that bug warding is essential for humans, since some swarms will literally suck a person dry of magic power. Scary. Yuri gives her a genuine bright smile and asks her to teach him more stuff he doesn't know. It totally catches her off guard. She hits him with the classic, "I'm not doing it because I like you or anything" vibe. Total tsundere energy from the tiny spirit. The peaceful mood doesn't last long. She's already back to whining about wanting a drink, and looking for a sweet kid to brew her one. 2 months have passed, and Marcia still hasn't picked an official name. She's just vibing and calling Yuri stingy for not making booze. Yuri tried to give her names like Ray-chan or Tinkerbell, but she just hit him with the silent treatment every time. Rough crowd. So now they're just hey and you, living together in this weird mood until a summer day changes everything. Summer is finally here, and the wheat is ready for harvest. Yuri's dreaming of bread or udon, but he knows Marcia has other plans. Predictably, Marcia wants beer. She challenges him to a harvesting race. If she wins, he has to brew her a cold one with that wheat. Yuri counters. If he wins, she has to stop talking about alcohol. She's offended he thinks he can win, calling him a heartless monster. The tiny spirit is locked in. She's determined to win this and get her booze, no matter what it takes. Let the race begin, and so, the world's most lopsided harvesting competition begins. Yuri's got his soil-made scythe ready, looking confident. He looks over and realizes he completely underestimated her. Just because she's palm-sized doesn't mean she's slow at all. She's a literal blur in the wheat field, piling up stalks like she's a professional combine harvester. Yuri is shook. She's yelling about how alcohol is her literal life force. She's giving it 110% for the sake of the grind, the beer grind. Yuri realizes that if he doesn't do something fast, all his precious food is going to end up as lukewarm beer. No choice then. He decides maturity is overrated and pulls out a wind cutter magic spell to level the playing field. Literally. Checkmate. A massive blade of wind slices through the field, harvesting a huge chunk of wheat in a single deafening thud. Silence falls. Competition over. Yuri stands there all smug, while Marcia just stares at the pile of wheat in stunned silence. Rough day for booze. Marcia starts screaming about how he's a cheater and a bully. Yuri just hits her with a, "You're the one who challenged me." Fair point. He gives her a reality check. They don't have extra food for luxury items, and as a freeloader, she should probably hold back. That one actually hurt. She goes quiet, apologizes for being selfish, and flies off into the distance with a sad goodbye. Yuri watches her go, feeling like the bad guy now. He tries to tell himself she'll just come back once she gets hungry. Night falls, and the little hut is way too quiet. He's staring out the window, wondering if she really left for good this time. Suddenly, he starts spiraling. What if she got attacked by a monster? The guilt is officially starting to eat him alive. He tries to act tough and say he doesn't care, but he's already grabbing his gear to go look for her. Typical Yuri. Deep in the forest, Marcia is sitting on a leaf, having a total existential crisis about where she's supposed to go now. She doesn't want to go back to the town where people were mean to her, but the forest is getting real dark and real scary. She spots some rutsberries, high-quality fruit that's perfect for sweets, or for brewing some top-tier alcohol. Business is booming. She gets a little excited. If she shows Yuri this place, maybe he'll finally change his mind about making some booze. Worth a shot. Then the reality of being a tiny spirit alone in a monster-filled forest hits her. She's having a minor breakdown about her situation. Suddenly she hears a rustle in the bushes. For a split second, she actually hopes it's Yuri coming to save her. Emotional damage. It's definitely not Yuri. A massive giant boar bursts out of the brush, and Marcia is absolutely terrified for her life. She barely manages to hide, heart pounding in her tiny chest. That was way too close for comfort. The forest is savage. It gets worse. She looks up and there's a giant bird monster in the sky, and another one crawling through the grass. Help! She realizes this forest is a literal death trap. She's crying now, wishing she hadn't been so stubborn and left Yuri. Stress levels 100. Yuri finally tracks her down, and he's genuinely hyped she's not monster food. Marcia is shook that he actually came looking for her. She's literally sobbing, but still tries to act like she's doing him a favor by coming home. The tsundere energy is off the charts. Back at the hut, Yuri admits he was being a bit of a brat. He knows he's the reason she felt like she had to leave in the first place. Marcia's in her feelings too, apologizing for being a handful. She even promises to stop yapping about booze. At least for now. Yuri drops a bombshell. Once the farm is bigger, he's actually down to try brewing some alcohol. Marcia can't believe her ears. He explains that his past life was basically just meds and hospital food. He doesn't want anyone, even a spirit, to miss out on the good stuff. He officially names her Marcia, after a goddess of alcohol from back home. She's processing the fact that she finally has an identity. Look at that smile. She absolutely loves it. Marcia is officially part of the squad now, and she's clearly not letting go. Meanwhile, at End Village, things are getting way too spicy. A massive gambit grizzly is currently making everyone's life a total nightmare. The bear finally dips, and the guards are just glad nobody ended up as a snack. That thing is an absolute unit of a problem. One of the guards wants to chase it, but the village leader shuts that down real fast. That way lies the forbidden forest. Apparently, Yuri's peaceful backyard is actually a high-level danger zone where monsters go to vibe and rampage. Not great for him. Yuri has zero clue he's living in the monster equivalent of a war zone. And to make matters worse, that grizzly is headed his way. Clueless and happy, Yuri and Marcia find some rutsberries. They're sweet, delicious, and apparently perfect for brewing some top-tier booze. Yuri's skeptical about making booze from just fruit, but Marcia assures him these berries have enough sugar to get the job done. She breaks down the fermentation process like a pro. Mash 'em up, jar 'em, and let the magic happen for a few months. Simple. Yuri tries to use his appraisal skill on the bacteria, but it just comes back as unidentifiable. Turns out even cheat skills have limits. He's actually enjoying the manual labor. It gets him thinking about all the other fermented stuff he could make. Miso, pickles, maybe even cheese. They get the fruit mash into the jars, and just like that, the first batch of otherworldly moonshine is officially in progress. Marcia is counting down the days until fall like it's Christmas. She's got zero chill when it comes to her favorite beverage. Yuri asks the real question. How did a high-tier spirit like her end up face down in the dirt in the first place? The mood does a complete 180. Marcia goes quiet, and Yuri immediately realizes he might have touched a serious nerve. She decides to spill the tea. Before she met Yuri, she spent years living in a massive brewery in a big city. Sounds fancy. It was a sweet setup. She'd bless the sake to make it top tier, and the humans would offer some back to her in return. Total harmony. Backstory time. Marcia explains how things went south at her old brewery. The previous owner was a real one, but after he passed, his son took the wheel, and the quality just plummeted. The guy was obsessed with profits, cutting every corner possible. He didn't care about the craft, only the coin. Worse, he called Marcia a pest and tried to kick her out of her own home. Finding a new spot wasn't easy since every other brewery already had its own resident spirit. So she hit the road, looking for a place to belong. But the journey was brutal. She got hurt, lost her way in the forest, and eventually just collapsed from pure exhaustion. Yuri realizes how rough she's had it. She's curious why Yuri can see her so perfectly when most humans just see floating orbs. He's definitely not your average kid. He shrugs it off as a good magic match. It's a bit awkward, but not a bad feeling. Fast forward a month, and they're fully in the groove of farm life. Except for today. The latest batch of sake is a total disaster. Marcia is taking it pretty hard, feeling like her dreams are toast. Yuri isn't about to let her wallow. He gives her a pep talk. promising to find better fruit so they can try again. He's already heading out to search. Just as he's leaving, he hears something heavy outside the wall. A low growl vibrates through the air, and it's definitely not a bird. He thinks something might have tripped a trap. He grabs his spear, hoping to just finish off whatever's stuck and stock up on meat. It's not just something. A massive bear is absolutely shredding a boar. Meet the Gambit Grizzly, the local heavyweight with a nasty scar. It's autumn, the season where everyone is trying to pack on the pounds for winter. This guy is clearly at the top of the food chain. Yuri peeks around the wall and sees a literal mountain of fur. This is way bigger than the boar he faced before. The Gambit Grizzly towers over him, letting out a puff of steam. Yuri realizes he stepped into a whole different league of danger. He watches as the bear casually pulls a boar out of a pitfall trap. Lesson learned. Don't turn your back on this guy or your lunch. Yuri keeps his cool. If he can lure it into a deeper trap and break its momentum, he might have a shot. He starts making a run for it. The plan goes south immediately. The bear is way too smart and sidesteps the trap with ease. Yuri's "oh crap" moment is setting in. This thing isn't just strong, it's intelligent. But Yuri slams his hand down, opening up a massive canyon right in front of the beast. The bear doesn't even hesitate. It launches itself across the gap with insane jumping power, basically flying through the air. That's exactly what Yuri wanted. Once you're midair, you can't exactly steer. He traps the bear in a vertical chute as it lands. Now for the finisher. He starts flooding the hole with water magic. It's a ruthless play, but it's the only way to take down a monster this size. Once the bubbles stop, Yuri offers a quick apology. He promises to make sure every bit of the materials goes to good use. He's surprised he won so easily. He starts worrying that if this giant bear was just a small fry, the real locals must be terrifying. He decides to stay hidden and focused on his farm. He heads back home with a massive haul of fruit, looking way too cheerful for someone who just drowned a boss-level monster. Marcia is still in her feelings over the sake, acting like the world ended. Yuri tries to hand her a special nut he found to cheer her up. She goes off on a whole lecture about the history of liquor. Apparently, random forest snacks don't compare to the craft of spirits, but one bite changes everything. It turns out that when heated, these nuts are a perfect substitute for liquor. Marcia's mood does a full 180. With the spirit finally happy, Yuri turns his attention to the cold. It's time to get the homestead ready for a cozy winter. He breaks down the 4 pillars: heating, food, clothes, and bedding. Marcia is all in on the winter survival plan. They discuss how humans stay warm. Fireplaces are okay, but stone floors are basically ice blocks. Plus, burning wood all day is a massive chore. He goes into engineer mode. If he uses his earth magic to tweak the layout of the house, he can solve the heating issue for good. Boom! A custom underfloor heating system powered by waste heat. It's basically a fantasy world ondol, and it looks professional as hell. Marcia gives it a test touch, and her mind is blown. It's actually warm. She's staring at the floor like it's magic. Well, technically, it is. Yuri explains the mechanics. Heat flows under the floor and exits through the chimney. He even kept the original stove for summer. Efficiency first. The warmth is so good that Marcia just passes out on the floor. She's completely zonked, basking in the indoor sunlight. With Marcia napping, Yuri heads back out to the fields. The autumn harvest is finally ready, and he's hyped for the results. He pulls up a potato, and it's massive. The yield is way better than he expected. This soil is a total cheat code. He notices some weird leaves mixed in with his crops. He doesn't remember planting these, and he's getting a bad feeling. He gives one a yank and, yep, it's a mandrake. The little thing starts screaming its lungs out, giving Yuri a heart attack. He realizes the whole patch is full of them. He must have accidentally planted some medicinal herbs that are a bit vocal. Turns out, they're garganmenline, a rare medicinal herb that looks like a nightmare. He decides to just store them and maybe open a pharmacy later. With the storage room overflowing, he's set for winter. Now he just needs to spin that bear fur into some cozy sweaters. Yuri is bundled up under the bear fur, but it's a bit too much. It's heavy, uncomfortable, and definitely not the move for a good night's sleep. He's daydreaming about cotton bedding, but this climate isn't doing him any favors. Looks like a straw mattress is his only option for now. Speak of the devil, Omochi just flew in. Yuri's first thought? Wow, someone's been hitting the snacks hard. The bird looks way rounder than usual, and Yuri is genuinely worried about its flight speed. If a predator shows up, Omochi is basically a slow-moving target. Yuri realizes the extra fluff is just the bird growing its winter coat. Feathers. Now that's an idea. He needs a massive amount for bedding and asks if there's a local feather jackpot somewhere. Omochi mentions a place where the Luika birds live, but it's a bit of a hike. Suddenly, a scream rips through the air. It's Sakura, another one of the birds. Yuri's heart drops. He knows that voice anywhere. Something is definitely wrong, and it sounds like she's in a real fight for her life. He runs out to see the nightmare in person. Luika birds. Massive 10-meter-long predators that make regular birds look like toys. They're basically flying tanks, and they're zeroing in on his friends. Yuri isn't about to let his avian squad become birdseed. He tries to clip their wings with a wind cutter, but the spell just bounces off like it hit a wall. These things aren't just big, they're magically reinforced. He gets the gimmick immediately. They're using wind magic as a protective coat to stay airborne and deflect attacks. It's a smart defensive play, but Yuri isn't one to give up after one failed attempt. He can see they're just out for blood. Reason isn't on the menu today. If these things are going to be a threat to his home and his friends, he's taking the gloves off. No more holding back. It's time to show them why you don't mess with a guy just trying to live a slow life. 3 of them, all fast, and they're working together. If he focuses on one, the others will definitely capitalize on the opening. He needs to shatter their formation and take control of the tempo. He pulls out a light magic spell called Beam. It's basically a high-intensity flashbang in laser form. He aims it straight at their eyes, hoping to blind them long enough to set up his next move. The beam hits home, and the lead bird is screaming in confusion. Yuri doesn't waste a second. He follows up with Confusion, a dark magic spell meant to scramble their brains and rob them of any tactical thinking. Now for the grand finale. He casts Mega Water Ball, trapping all 3 massive birds in a single giant bubble of water. They're stuck mid-air, unable to fly or breathe. It's a clean sweep. Marcia is absolutely floored. She's watching a kid take down 3 Luika birds at once like it's a daily chore. She's starting to realize that Yuri is way more dangerous than he looks. Yuri feels a little guilty about the whole suffocation thing, but he needs to finish the job as painlessly as possible. On the bright side, he's got all the high-quality feathers he needs. Winter bedding is officially a go. Back at the homestead, the production line is moving. He's soaking bark to extract fibers, using an earth magic scraper to peel away the outer layers. It's a lot of work, but he's making it look easy. He's twisting those fibers into strong thread and weaving them into bags. Thanks to his country living guide skill, his speed is basically superhuman. A normal human would take weeks. Yuri is done before dinner. Result, the down comforter of his dreams. It's light, warm, and perfect. Marcia is practically drooling over it, realizing she's about to get a major upgrade to her sleeping situation. He didn't stop there. He used the leftover bear fur to spin yarn and knit some cozy sweaters. They look thick enough to survive a literal blizzard, and Yuri is feeling pretty proud of himself. Marcia is officially a fan. She's buried in her new sweater, feeling safer and warmer than she ever did in the city. Leaving that brewery was definitely the best move she ever made. She's so comfortable that she starts wishing for a drink. Yuri just rolls his eyes. Some people are never satisfied. But he's got a surprise for her. He tells her to follow him to a brand new room he's been working on. Marcia peeks inside, expecting maybe a storage closet or something practical. Yuri's got that "I just did something awesome" look on his face, which usually means things are about to get interesting. Ta-da! A custom stone bath, complete with steaming hot water. Yuri is beaming like a kid on Christmas. It's the ultimate luxury for a survivalist, and he can't wait to jump in. Marcia just blinks. A bath? She's looking at it like it's a weird ritual site. Clearly, the concept of recreational soaking hasn't made it to this part of the world yet. Yuri is hit by a massive wave of culture shock. How do people not know about the glory of a hot bath? He spends the next few minutes trying to explain the science and the soul of a good soak. Marcia is not convinced. She thinks spending that much effort just to sit in hot water is a total waste of time. If you're dirty, just use clean magic, she says. She's got a point, but she's missing the vibe. Yuri stands his ground. It's about more than just hygiene. It's a cornerstone of his hometown's culture. He's confident she'll change her mind once she actually feels the heat. But for now, she's taking a hard pass. She retreats to the floor heating, which she already loves. Yuri just sighs. I guess the bath life isn't for everyone in a world where magic does the heavy lifting. No matter. He's not going to let a perfectly good bath go to waste. He strips down and steps in. The second his feet hit the water, he's in another dimension. He's basically melting into the water. It's his first real bath in forever, and it feels better than any hospital tub from his past life. This is the peak slow life experience he was dreaming of. He's using his magic to keep the temp perfect and his clean skill to handle the soap situation. He's even using wind and fire magic as a makeshift hairdryer. Living in the wild has never been so high-tech. Winter is finally here, but Yuri isn't stressed at all. He's got the food, the clothes, and the heating all sorted. He's perfectly prepared for whatever the season throws at him. The snow starts falling, and it feels just like home in Japan. He even builds a little snow rabbit, feeling that pure childhood excitement. It's moments like these that make all the monster fighting worth it. Marcia stops him at the door one day, looking super suspicious. She's convinced he's hiding something from her, and she's not letting him pass until he spills the beans. She's got a whole theory going. She thinks Yuri has a secret stash of elite booze, and he's sneaking off to the bath every couple of days to get wasted. She even thinks the "ah" sounds he makes are from drinking. Yuri's just standing there with a deadpan expression. I see. He's used to her wild imagination by now, but this is a new level of paranoia. Marcia is convinced she's cracked the case. She's decided she's going to prove he's lying by using the bath herself. If she catches him with a bottle, it's game over. Yuri just lets her have her moment. Cut 2. Marcia in the bath, and she is absolutely loving it. The waste of effort talk is gone, replaced by pure, blissful relaxation. What is this? This is the best. Yuri actually went and built a custom, doll-sized basin just for her. Now he's the one stuck filling it with hot water every day. He has to remind her to get out before she gets dizzy, but she's not listening. Time just blurs past. The snowy days turn into a daily routine, and before he knows it, the flowers are blooming again. Yuri's life in this new world has officially hit the 2-year mark. He's feeling good. His homestead is basically a fortress of comfort now. But he's not stopping here. This year, he's aiming for even higher quality. Step 1. Start keeping a proper diary. Only one problem. Paper doesn't exist here. He's been carving his daily logs into stone tablets like an ancient philosopher. His floor is starting to look like a construction site from all the weight. He looks at his mountain of rocks and realizes this is not sustainable. If he wants to keep a real record, he's going to have to innovate. I'm going to make some paper. Yuri is staring at his plant collection like he's in a botanical garden, trying to figure out which weeds are top tier for fiber. Marcia is in the corner, looking about as interested in papermaking as a cat is in a math book. She's definitely not the target audience for this educational segment. Thank God for that guide to rural living skill. Yuri pulls it up like a tutorial video when he hits a wall. He's reading through the papermaking process, feeling genuinely grateful to whatever deity handed him this cheat sheet. Without it, he'd still be stuck in the Stone Age. The tutorial is getting complicated. It's asking for strong alkaline and wire mesh, which are basically non-existent in the middle of nowhere. Yuri's having a minor, wait, what? Moment as he realizes the supply chain issues of the fantasy world are real. He considers just giving up and building a bigger stone tablet closet. But that feels like taking the L. Marcia tells him he's being noisy, but he's not letting a little thing like total lack of industrial supplies stop his quality of life upgrades. He's too deep in now. Yuri is back on his grind, realizing that if he can't buy the tools, he has to be the tools. He's getting hyped, determined to find a magical workaround for the boiling and alkaline steps. It's all about that ingenuity and a healthy amount of fire magic. He dives into his dark magic list and spots corrosion. It's usually for rotting things, but Yuri is thinking 500 IQ. If he can just rot the unnecessary plant bits while leaving the strong fibers intact, he's basically bypassed the whole chemical process. It's a risky play, but he's going for it. He whips out a makeshift earth hammer made of stone magic. He's hammering away at the fibers with a grin, feeling like a DIY king. Meanwhile, Marcia is in the back, miserable because the construction noise is ruining her afternoon nap. Total vibes mismatch. Step 2. The makeshift earth mold. Yuri is trying to spread the loose fibers thinly and evenly in water, but it's harder than it looks. He's wondering if he can cheat with some water magic to get that perfect consistency. It's like trying to cook a 5-star meal with just a microwave. It's not working. The fibers are clumping, and the paper looks more like a wet mess of hair. He realizes wood magic is useless if the fibers are already falling apart. He's starting to feel the weight of those many obstacles he was warned about. This is the struggle era, but Yuri isn't built for quitting. He's hunched over the water, pouring all his focus into finding a way through. He's come this far, and he's not going back to carving rocks. The grind continues, no matter how many failures it takes. Hours later, Marcia pops her head in to see if he's finally given up. Yuri's still at it, but there's a change in the air. He's got that focused look of someone who finally found the exploit. He's not moving just water. He's moving the fibers themselves. Victory! He's holding up a perfectly spread sheet of pulp with a massive grin. He finally caught the knack for it. Once this dries, he's officially entered the paper age. Marcia looks surprised. It seems she underestimated his stubbornness. Without even knowing it, Yuri just mastered non-elemental magic. In a world where everyone is obsessed with fire and ice, he's over here using raw magical force to manipulate atoms just to make stationery. It's an insane flex that no one in this world would even dream of. The landscape of his new home is peaceful, but the history books will definitely note this day. Yuri has broken the laws of common sense once again, all in the pursuit of a more comfortable life. He's the most dangerous librarian in history. Fast forward a few days, and Yuri is trimming his sheets to size. They're a bit rough around the edges, but he's vibing with it. It adds character. He's using earth magic to make a needle and binding them together into a proper book. The DIY energy is off the charts. The diary is complete. Yuri is hugging his new book like it's a prize. He even made charcoal pencils, so he's fully set up for the writing life. He's officially free from the stone tablets, and he's never been happier to increase his list of things I can actually do. Marcia is watching him celebrate with a smirk. She's got that "I have a secret" look on her face, and she mentions she has some info on a certain ingredient. Yuri is immediately suspicious, but also very interested. Rare ingredients are his love language. She presents a large, familiar-looking leaf. Yuri's taking a look, wondering if it's some kind of gourmet salad green. Marcia is teasing him, knowing she's got something he's going to absolutely lose his mind over. It's not just a leaf. It's a portal to a new level of breakfast. Yuri takes a closer look at the leaf shape and connects the dots. The sap from a tree with leaves like this. It's all coming together. He's starting to get that sparkle in his eyes as the culinary possibilities start downloading into his brain. The realization hits him like a truck. This isn't just some random tree sap. It's the holy grail of sweeteners. Yuri's face is pure shock and awe as he says the magic words. Maple syrup! Winter just got about 1,000 times better.